Hello and welcome to Ministry of Offence, the show that's like the Women's Euros. No one's admitting to watching it, everyone's underpaid, and there's a bunch of people sat at home shouting at their telly saying they could do it better. I'm your host, Stephen Allen, and I'm going to start with a quick recap of the news you might have missed. This week saw Boris's last appearance at the Dispatch box, during which he described Keir Starmer as a plastic bollard, which is hardly fair. Surely the whole point of a bollard is that you'd notice them. We have two candidates for PM. There's Liz Truss, who says that if she gets into number 10, she won't have time to change the wallpaper. Wow, that is self-awareness for you. Even she realises she won't be there for long. The other is ex-Chancellor Rishi Sunak, who's enjoyed being in charge of the money for the last 2.5 years, which is more than he's allowed to do at home. The Women's Euros are still taking place, and I must say, I'm looking forward to the semis. And if they win, I might get fully erect. I'm sure they'll soon be showing us that they deserve the England shirts just as much as the men's team when they also rip out our hearts by up a crucial penalty. This week, everyone in Britain's been talking about the weather, so just like any other week then. Even I recorded 40 degrees. Not bad angle for a man of my age. Prince Charles has said more about what will happen after his coronation. He will pass the Duchy of Cornwall to his eldest son in a ceremony that involves William standing on his left-hand side. The news of William becoming the new Duke of Cornwall might explain Camilla booking a facelift and a vajazzle. Doctors and other health workers may strike soon. Are they honestly telling us they've spent all of those claps already? But I'm totally backing the doctors, at least till next Wednesday, when I'll have had my appointment, as I'm extremely keen for the examination order to remain tonsils, then prostate. And that's your weekly roundup. Time to get on with the show. Of course, no panel show is complete without panellists, so let's meet the teams. Fighting for the left is a team captain who, like Luton Airport runway at 40 degrees, super hot yet badly damaged. It's Diane Spencer. And her teammate is a comedian who has a PhD in early Renaissance poetry, but he wears it lightly. It's, wait, let me get this right, Andrew, the way you wrote it down. A wreathed garland of deserved praise I give unto thee, Dr. Doyle. And fighting for the right is a team captain who's so tall, when there's a power cut, the Greater London area uses him as a sundial. It's Leo Kurt. And Leo is joined by a comedian who made his name singing in Pop Idol. Wait a minute, there's more than one person called Darius. It's Darius Davies. So here at Ministry of Offence, we ask our teams to tell us which minister they would like to be. So Leo, I'm going to start with your team. What are you the minister of?
I'm going to be the Minister for the Environment. It's been a big week for the environment. I was talking to environmentalists. I was talking to this vegan guy at a party, and when he finished telling me about veganism, he still had some energy left over. And he told me off because I was using a plastic drinking straw. He said, "That is bad. That is single-use plastic." I was like, "What do you mean?" He says, "That's single-use plastic. After you've used that to drink your gin and tonic, it's going to go into the sea and kill a turtle." I said, "Well, then it's not single-use plastic." Using it right now to drink a gin and tonic, and later I'm going to a turtle with it. So I see we got some turtle fans in tonight. Well, better strap in. I'm just going to be giving turtles a kicking all the way through. Yeah, but it's fine. They got that shell.
And Darius?
I'm going to be the Minister of Travel. But we're not going to be the Goldilocks of world travel anymore. It's never going to be too hot. It's never going to be too cold. It's just going to be drizzle. All our airports will remain open. I'm going to ensure that our runways are no longer made of chocolate and melt. That's what I'm going to do.
Moving over to this team, Diane?
I'm going to be the Minister of Human Rights because Google has developed a sentient AI. We have all seen it operating in the Tory leadership contest. The T1000, otherwise known as the Liz Truss model, is clearly trying to control human beings. We could still spot she's a cyborg because of her 32-bit memory sometimes causes her to buffer and she takes very long to answer questions. And obviously the movements are not quite correct yet, but that is okay.
And Andrew?
I'm going to be the Minister for Exits because it took months to get out of the European Union. Boris Johnson took ages to get out of Downing Street, and Liz Truss appeared to struggle to open a door at her own launch party. So apparently leave doesn't mean leave. It means fumble about and make yourself look like a prat.
Well, that's the introductions out of the way. Let's get the show started with our first round, which is Viral Load. Each week, the teams pick a video that has caught their eye. It could be political, or it could be something that they find weird or amusing. What treat have you got for us this week, Leo?
We've got a video of a woman who identifies as a cat.
OK, let's take a look.
Be teaching you guys some ways that my friends and I meow to one another to communicate when words just seem a little too difficult. So, here we go. Then the angry meow, but we only use this one on rare occasions because overall we're a very happy kitten family. Okay, and last but definitely not least is our in heat meow, and we use this when we need a little bit more special kitten attention, if you know what I mean. Meow. Oh, meow.
I normally have to pay expensive phone charges for that kind of action. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, well, now I've got to try and mock her with an erection. In the full video, she's got like all these different meows. She's got a meow for when she wants attention, which I'm guessing is 100% of the time. She's got a meow for dissatisfied, which she better start practicing for 2 years' time when Trump gets back in. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. We've gone beyond genders now. Now people are identifying as animals. And the worst thing is, so she lives in a house with all these other people who identify as cats, and they all meow to each other. And I don't know, it's just, that means there's men there. And it's just mental the lengths that men will go to debase themselves when there's a chance of getting some. It's just.
So it's like the worst Thundercats I've ever seen. And I'm normally a dog person, but hearing that last meow, I might reconsider where I stand.
Yeah, normally, you know, you look at left-wing people or left-wing women and you're like, I wonder how much they spend on cat food. But I'm never normally looking at them thinking, I wonder how much they spend on cat food and eat themselves.
Yeah.
We don't know that she was left-wing. Sorry, I tried.
Yeah, we do.
I did try.
There's a few clues.
Yeah. Leo, there's nothing left-wing about that. There's nothing in the Communist Manifesto about using a litter tray. There's nothing.
No, that she's obviously left-wing because she's under the age of 25. I'm saying she as if she's a she. She's obviously not a she. She's got some sort of, cat pronoun.
She's older than that. In cat years, she's at least 60.
I believe there's another video to be part of this.
There is, and this is a riposte from the world of actual cats. So cis cats.
Hi, my name is Erin. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm
I think you found your spirit animal, haven't you?
Yeah. I used to be a gerbil person. Now I'm a cat person. That's amazing. That cat, I love that cat. I mean, that cat was basically doing for pronouns what that white tiger did for Siegfried and Roy.
I think it's great we're having it's all free-flowing, and it's like I had a cat who identified as a tropical fish, but it drowned because I kept forcing it back in the fish tank. But it was worth it because then he could be who he really was.
Nice.
I actually don't think. I think that video. We should show that video to kids in schools to warn them about the dangers of inbreeding. I think that's the only. So Scottish schools, then
Actually, the village I'm from is where they invented the bicycle, which did more to stop inbreeding in Britain than anything else. Basically, yeah, it meant you could go to the next valley to, have sex with a slightly more distant relative.
OK, Diane, what have you and Andrew got for us?
We've got a really covert video, and it shows British citizens taking part in special operations to establish forward operating bases in what is clearly a conflict zone.
All right, let's take a look.
How is that a holiday? Like, it looks too stressful to be a holiday. Like, when I was at school, I spent all my time trying to get out of sports day. I don't want to reenact it at the Costa del Sol.
I mean, you're not really British and going on holiday unless you're claiming stuff that isn't your own.
But I just find it's so weird, this idea of claiming your territory with a towel. Like, clearly Zelensky's missing a trick, right? You know, he could have just tossed a few towels on the Ukrainian border and the Russians would be like, oh, well, they got there first.
It's very important that you actually get to the sunbed and put a towel down, because if you don't have some sort of covering on that sunbed, you can get into all sorts of problems. I got in trouble in the south of France, and it was hot. I was naked, and basically what happened was my testicles went through the slats in the sunbed, and I didn't even realise until my girlfriend was like, you know, we're down on the beach, and she's like, you know, get your clothes on, there's people coming. I was like, what? I reached over to grab my towel, and the sunbed came with me. Yeah. My girlfriend was like, what's all this commotion? And she just looks over and sees my testicles just quivering like a scared little hamster through the other side of the sun lounger, and she just thumbed them through the other side.
The great thing about getting older, though, give it another 20 years, and you could go for a short walk while they're still...
Yeah, like a tethered goat.
Yep.
OK, I think the most point-worthy video it's Leo's Catwoman.
Right.
Moving on now to the next round, which is clickbait. Yes, in this round, we give each of our teams some news stories and task them to come up with some headlines. In true tabloid style, these headlines need to be funny, punny, or downright sensational. Basically anything that's going to draw you in as clickbait. OK, we're going to start with this story. This one's for you, Leo. Boris Johnson filmed himself taking a test flight in a £75 million Typhoon fighter jet. Following the flight, the outgoing PM said, after 3 happy years in the cockpit, performing some pretty difficult, if not astonishing feats, I'm about to hand the controls over seamlessly to someone else. What are your thoughts on that story?
Did he mean reluctantly?
Yeah.
It was, I mean, I've had STIs that went quicker than Boris Johnson.
Any headlines?
Oh, yeah, we've got to come up with headlines for this one.
This is your one, not my one.
Man, it's like so complicated.
That's the point of the round.
It's like being at school. Carrie gleefully clutches life insurance policy.
Manatee spotted at 35,000 feet.
PM looks down on entire country.
OK, let's move on to the next story. This is for you, Diane. UK cinema chain Showcase offered free entry to red-haired people during the worst part of the heatwave. Studies have shown redheads are more sensitive to the sun than others, so Showcase stepped in to offer free tickets to air-conditioned auditoriums. Any ideas on how you'd sell this story?
Well, may I just say, I never heard about this story. I am an email subscriber to Redhead UK. The Redhead Alliance didn't contact us. Even our coven meeting that we have in the bottom of Tiger, nobody brought this up.
Don't you feel like it's a bit patronising? Because this feels to me discriminatory, because I kind of feel that gingerhead people should be treated the same as normal people.
No, we shouldn't.
What about albinos scream, what about us?
Sun screening for ginger kids.
But I thought we already had this before. It was Orange Wednesdays. I thought they already.
What about Redhead Redemption?
That's a video game.
Yeah, but what have you got?
Steve, you've got a ginger beard.
Well, thank you. I'm not sure if it would have got me in the cinema.
Yeah, well,
Maybe-
that's what we need to get to the bottom of.
Maybe
Would
they
you be
just
allowed entry?
Maybe they just let you watch the adverts.
OK, Darius, let's see what you can do with this one. A 74-year-old reverend in Northamptonshire is now on the sex offenders list after being caught thrusting into the nozzle of a Henry Hoover wearing nothing but a pair of stockings. John Jeffs was caught in church by a member of the public during a talk about Asperger's syndrome, but continued because he felt naughty. Any headlines?
The worst thing about this was it was a Henry Hoover. So, you know, as a man of the cloth, he's not even fulfilling his biblical obligation by having heterosexual sex with a household appliance. He should have found a Henrietta Hoover. It's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Henry the Hoover.
The worst thing about this story is they've not even left Henry the Hoover, poor Henry the Hoover, anonymous. Everyone knows who he is. There's a big black thing blocked out at the top, but not over the guy's eyes or his name. Oh, just give it.
You think if they'd have pixelated bits of his face, you'd be like, oh, they've done that to protect his
It could have been
innocence.
maybe a Dyson, we don't know, but now everyone knows.
Look at the expression on Henry's face.
Yeah,
I'm not sure he was an unwilling participant in this.
No, he loved receiving that communion.
Dyson with danger.
Hey!
Because he could have one of his testicles could have got sucked in just suddenly and and
That doesn't happen to all of us. It's mainly you that gets your balls stuck in stuff.
right. I thought you were going to say that doesn't happen. I thought you were going to go into an explanation of when you're having sex with a Hoover.
No, but the key is to keep the scrota tight.
Right. Oh, scrota. Oh my God, this classical education. The scrota.
Not scrotuses. No, because you say,
Scroti?
would you say octopi or octopuses?
It's octopuses, yeah.
You say octopi.
No, it's not Latin, so you don't do pie.
Are we actually having this conversation?
Octopode. Any headlines over here?
Sucks to be in that parish.
Thing is, I read the full article, and the defence lawyer actually said that he was doing this because he was trying to come to terms with the loss of his wife. And I suppose when your wife leaves you, that does create a vacuum. But then, if that's where he's going to replicate his marriage, what does that say about the qualities of his wife? That, you know, because that's what you want from a marriage, isn't it? Loyalty, respect, and powerful suction.
What's the actual crime?
Yeah.
But what's the crime? It's not an animal. It's not. What's the crime?
Not an animal.
No,
It's
you're
not
right.
an animal. It's not human. It's the crime having sex
It's
with
got
Henry
a
the.
face.
Yeah, but is it? Yeah,
It's
but,
got a face. You
yeah,
can't have
but
sex with someone with a face on it.
I've drawn a face on my hand loads of times. What's the crime? No, but like, is the crime that he got caught by someone else watching him, or is the actual crime it's illegal to have sex with a Henry the Hoover?
I mean, it might not be a crime, but it voids the warranty.
Why was he got?
Well done. All of those were great, but there can only be one winner for that round, and that's the blue team.
What?
It's time for a break now, and I believe the correct term for signing off is hasta la vista, baby. See you after this.
My name is Andrew Doyle. Join me every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. for Free Speech Nation. This is a show where we address current affairs and news stories of the week with the help of two wonderful comedian panelists. I brought in comics because I want to give it a lighter edge, and also they work for less. See you there.
Welcome back to Ministry of Offence in a week where it was so hot, even Prince Andrew was sweating. We're still here with Leo Kearse, Andrew Doyle, Diane Spencer and Darius Davis. And it's time for our next round, Mass Debate. In this round, we discuss the biggest news story of the week, which is, of course, climate change. Our teams have differing views, which is the whole point of this show, making sure we are entirely neutral and unbiased, so we can respectfully give a voice to different opinions, specifically the right's utterly crackpot ones. Diane, I'm coming to you first. What would you like to say about climate change?
Okay, well, climate change is clearly real. And I know that we don't all want to necessarily listen to Greta Thunberg because she is annoying. If we didn't listen to people just because they were annoying, I would never hear a word that Leo says. We have a video to support our climate change argument here.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? Earth on fire.
Yeah, where is that anyway?
What's he doing? He's next to a train.
How comes that train was running?
We need to slow down the heating up of the planet. Right now, people in Newcastle will wear T-shirts in the middle of winter. If the temperature gets any hotter anywhere north of Birmingham, it's going to become some kind of Geordie nudist colony.
If you're not worried about climate warming, here are 2 words that should strike terror in your heart. English wine.
What about Buckfast?
That is
Wait a
English
minute,
wine.
I've got...
Ultimately, the thing is that the left are the only ones who care about the environment. That's what they say. Look at Emma Thompson. Emma Thompson, okay, when she wanted to go to that Extinction Rebellion protest, she flew all the way from Los Angeles to London, first class, 5,000 miles, to make sure and remind everyone to keep their carbon footprint down. That is commitment, right? And I think the left are really good at this. I'm really good at this. I make sure that at least one of my cars is energy efficient.
Now over to the blue team. Leo, what are your thoughts on climate change?
Well, we've got a video.
Let's take a look.
How many of us feel battered, helpless, in the face of the seemingly endless stream of disasters and devastation? I understand. Climate change wreaking havoc on our planet.
Every time I hear about climate change, yeah, it's either Diane, yeah, or someone who looks like Diane, yeah? Or gingers. Listen, this is the conspiracy here, yeah, is ginger people just don't like the sun, right? They just, oh, no sun for us. They're terrified of the sun. It's a night. I read a terrifying headline. It said, summertime, hot day. That was the headline, right? It's nice. It's hot. We love it.
No, apparently temperatures are going to rise by 1.5 degrees over the next 100 years, which it's going to be devastating for Scotland. Some of us might have to undo the top button on our duffel coat. You know what I mean? I also said we're going to get more extreme weather. Like, this is Britain. What are we going to get? Extreme drizzle. I don't care about the environment. I reckon it's got another 30 years left. That'll do me. And apparently the worst thing with climate change is sea levels are going to rise by 6 feet over the next 100 years, which is going to be devastating for people who can't walk uphill. Like, really slowly. Who's so lazy they can't walk 6 feet up a beach in 100 years? It's man, everybody carries on like climate change is like killing everybody. Actually, the British Medical Journal did a study, and cold weather kills 20 times as many people as warm weather. So when you get cold snaps, it's far more deadly than hot spells like we've just had.
Yeah, but the cold weather snap is caused by an imbalance in the planet because we get these massive heat waves and they reverse things like the jet stream, and there's something called the North Oscillating Current, something like that.
Ah, you and your science. Oh my God. Look at these test tubes and these algorithms. We've got it all worked. Man, it's like anything. You can blame anything on climate change. It's the new Brexit. It's like, oh, it's raining today. Oh, Brexit. Oh, wait, no, it's Tuesday. Climate change.
I am very surprised that as the right, you think that climate change doesn't exist because...
No, we think it exists.
No, we think it exists.
We just don't care.
No, we do care, but...
Oh, but you should care.
We do care, and we're for it because we're the right, and we want to promote job growth. And we know that fan sales have gone through the roof, and that is a new lucrative opportunity for people to get into the fan manufacturing business.
You do know the big issue about climate change for me personally is that coffee is becoming ungrowable. And so we're actually running out of nice tasting coffee because of climate change.
Is this like in the 60s when we're running out of oil, in the 70s when there was going to be a new ice age, in the 80s when the rainforest was all going to disappear and we're all going to burn? Like every few years there's a new thing that governments come up with to get more of my money and take more control over my life. It's like the world is not ending. The world is changing, but sometimes change is good and you should embrace it.
Well, you all made some good points there, but ultimately it's up to me to decide who made the most convincing arguments there. And I think that the most compelling statements came from Diane's team. So the points go to the Reds.
Yeah! Woo!
Now we've sorted out the planet, let's move on to our next round, which is Lie Detector. Our teams are shown some newspaper stories from this week and they must decide which parts of each story are true and which are false. So it's fingers on buzzers. Can you spot the lie in this first story? Sharks are apparently going through a major mental health crisis. Great whites and tiger sharks are showing signs of depression because conservation efforts mean getting food is no longer posing a challenge for them. What's the lie in there?
Sharks wouldn't be depressed. They've got a pretty good life. I think it's probably jellyfish. Because jellyfish just bob about aimlessly with no or little control of what they do. And they're like the Boris Johnson of the sea world.
Yeah, I think they are going through a mental health crisis because it's 2022 and everybody's encouraged to go through a mental health crisis and be depressed and wallow in it and focus on themselves instead of just manning up and getting on with it.
I think it's a lie that the great whites are going through a mental health crisis. Some of the other sharks might be. They're the best shark. Why would the best sharks not going to be depressed?
Yes.
I tell you who does have a mental health issue, hammerhead sharks. Imagine being a hammerhead shark, how bullied you would get for looking like that. All the other sharks just swimming up looking like a normal shark variation, and then suddenly you come here with your eyes like out here like that. Like, oh, hi guys. Like, oh, even the name taking the piss out of the shark. Like tiger shark, great hammerhead. Like, why are you, come on, you know that's the thing I'm self-conscious about that. You put it in my actual name. Just call me a shark, you know.
I think I do know. I think I read something about this, that it's not a mental health crisis, that there's an obesity epidemic among sharks.
Is the correct answer.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, apparently sharks are undergoing this major obesity crisis as they have easy access to food. They can eat as much as they want. This news could see tweaks made to the dialogue in the forthcoming Jaws remake. Apparently Chief Brody will say, we're going to need a much, 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 much bigger boat. Yeah, fat sharks, that's what we're dealing with.
I think it would be funnier if it was like a little fat shark and like, you know, they always show the bit where they try and like eat the guy in the boat. Instead of like the shark would get stuck like one of those fat cats that get stuck in the cat flap. And
Yeah,
they'd just be like, yeah, stuck in the boat now.
But it'll get out of breath in the seat. It's chasing the boat. You go ahead, Al. Fingers on buzzers, can you spot the lie in this next story? Japanese firms are introducing desktop pillows for exhausted office staff, allowing them to fall asleep at work. Snoozing on the job is so common in a country where some people work 80 hours a week, it has its own specific word, inamuri. What's the lie in there?
It's not Japanese firms, it's Welsh farmers, and it's not desktop pillows, it's battery-powered egg whisks. And it's not falling asleep at work, it's interpretative dance during the Christmas holiday. So actually, it's not about Japanese people falling asleep at work, it's about Welsh farmers dancing at Christmas.
So close. Sadly not the right answer. Anyone else?
Are there really 80 hours in 1 week?
Typical left wing. Not everybody's got a union making sure they don't have to work more than 12 hours a week.
12?
I think the lie in the story is that they were given pillows because they have pods to sleep in. And I think it's actually progressive to have pods to sleep in because I got fired from my previous job for falling asleep and they fired me. I mean, fair enough, I was driving the train, but that's not the point where I was still doing more work than most train drivers do. And I wasn't striking, I just wasn't doing my job either.
Is the correct answer.
Oh, really?
I can tell you that the real answer is that Japanese firms are introducing nap boxes, allowing workers to fall asleep while standing up.
That's rather alarming. Why can't you lie down? Because you could put people in a filing cabinet.
Yeah, but Japan is very small.
Yeah, but you could have a filing cabinet where you sort of pull out a drawer and then at least you can lie down and get one of your co-workers to shut the drawer for you.
I think you've just described a morgue.
Yeah, but that's a sarcophagus, like a mummy.
Sarcophagi. No, sarcophagi is what that Hoover did.
Okay, everyone, fingers on buzzers. Here comes your next lie-laden story. A new healing technique which involves women rubbing their own fluids onto their body has been taking off on TikTok. Proponents of vabbing insist the resulting pheromones are highly effective in promoting well-being, although scientists aren't convinced.
Does it say what the fluids are?
Oh, do we need to explain what lady fluids are?
Oh, is that? Oh, it's this. So it's that, is it? I mean, I've not experienced that ever. I was born a cesarean, but I think that.
I can understand that the action that you would do to generate the fluids is very good and promotes your well-being, but I'm not sure that rubbing them on yourself would promote your well-being, because then you might just walk around smelling like an old pair of pants.
Is it they put it in beer to simulate the flavour of carling? It's the pheromones. It's supposed to attract people.
Interesting.
The pheromones, see, they rub it on their necks, and it's like a natural aftershave. Not aftershave. Women don't wear aftershave. Well, maybe they do now, depending on the pronouns. But yeah, it's perfume. Perfume. That's the word I'm looking for.
It must confuse blind dogs. Because they're sniffing around there thinking, well, I think I'm in someone's crotch, but yeah. Yeah, I can tell you that the correct answer is that it's a new pulling technique which involves women rubbing their own fluids instead of perfume onto themselves to attract a partner. I did wonder why my wife asked for a bottle of Calvin Clunge for Christmas.
Oh.
So here's your last lie detector story. Fingers on buzzers for this one. Research suggests older chess players are so desperate not to lose to younger opponents that they are avoiding taking them on. King's College London found players over 50 want to avoid the psychological cost of losing to a youngster. What's the line there?
Maybe the lie is it's not chess. It's like something like Twister. Because, because older people aren't good at Twister because, the arthritic limbs and stuff.
Also, it can be a bad look if you're doing it with an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
You guys are so ageist, aren't you?
Old people don't play Twister. That's not ageist, that's just true.
With their hips, they play it once. They can get in good positions and they stay in that position.
Is it that young people won't play chess anymore because it's really boring?
Before I give you the...
I think I know what this is.
Yep.
I think it's something to do with male chess players and women chess players, and it's something to do with men not wanting to give in when they know they've lost.
That's the correct answer. Yeah, the correct answer is that research suggests male chess players are so desperate not to lose to a woman that they play for longer against a female opponent. Honestly, with some men, it's just pawn, pawn, pawn. Well done, and that round ended in a draw. We're going on a break now, and much like Boris Johnson, we'll definitely be going away, but we'll probably also be back sooner than you'd hoped for.
I'm Mark Dolan. Join me at 11 on GBNews for Headliners, in which I'll be joined by two of the UK's top comedians discussing tomorrow's papers. If it's an important story, we'll cover it, but we'll have some fun along the way. Headliners, the late night paper review that won't send you to sleep like the others will. 7 nights a week at 11 p.m. on GB News.
Welcome back to Ministry of Offence in a week where Tiggy Leg Burke has won damages due to disgraceful behaviour by reporter Martin Bashir. The BBC have had to pay £200,000, or as it's known in the Beeb, a sixth of a Lineker. We're still here with Leo Kirst, Darius Davis, Diane Spencer and Andrew Doyle, and it's time for our next round, Anti-Social Media. Yes, this is Anti-Social Media, in which we look at online reactions to the biggest news of the week, and we're looking at the ministers past and present who have kept us entertained by having no filter whatsoever when it comes to tweeting. Some have fallen by the wayside, whereas others may not stay the course when the new leader arrives. This is a bit like the in memorandum part of the Oscars. Here's the first one. Heard a noise outside. Clock is slow. I opened my front door to the sound of my amazing neighbours whistling, cheering and shouting, "Come on, Boris." I'll admit, I cried for the boss and everyone everywhere in hospital battling #COVID-19. Get better soon. Who was that?
Well, this is obviously somebody who works for Boris Johnson and really wants a promotion. This is, I mean, could their nose get further up his anus?
It's quite literary, though, isn't it? Oh, it's a bit like Hemingway.
Well, it's trying to be very poetic, isn't it? Yes, how the clocks... What's that poem about the clocks stopping?
WHO... No, Auden.
Yeah, the one that...
Stop all the clocks.
Yeah, it's a bit like
I bet you know that from Paul Wenning's Gonna Funeral, right?
Yeah. Where else would I know it from?
From a book.
A what?
Nah.
Is this the Hickory Dickory Dock one?
Yeah.
I would initially say, because it's so poetic, as somebody clearly loves Boris, I would say that it's Nadine Dorries, because we all know that she's got a major crush on Boris. But she also gets language really wrong, so I don't think it's her. I think she'd be more inclined to put something like, oh, my big Boris is remunerating in hospital. I'm really sad. I've heard they've put him on the air conditioning.
She would mess it up. She'd say something like, oh, Boris would get the clap from me.
Sorry, it ain't her.
Okay.
No.
Any ideas over here?
This kind of tells you a bit about our education. That was Auden when you read that, and I read that and thought, that sounds a bit like Rorschach from The Watchmen.
Oh, nice!
Yeah,
I thought it was the back of a can of Special Brew.
I think it's Rishi Sunak. Yeah, I remember when Boris, but no one was out in the street going, come on, Boris. I mean, not in, normal neighborhoods, but maybe in Richmond or wherever Rishi lives, that would happen.
So any guesses, final guesses on who it is?
Nadine Dorries.
Keir Starmer.
Let's take a look.
Damn!
Here's Nadine Dorries. You were wrong to say it wasn't her.
So do we get the point? Because you said it was Nadine Dorries, but we said it wasn't Nadine Dorries, but we said the phrase Nadine Dorries.
Yeah, but you said it wasn't Nadine Dorries.
But if you just focus on the phrase Nadine Dorries, it means I said the answer.
You know this isn't for money.
No, it's for pride.
Yeah, we're getting paid, but they don't weigh out.
Because otherwise,
you panicked, Darius.
Yeah, I've got things to do.
Well, here's your next one. The same insanity when #Labour knifed Tony Blair and promptly lost the general election.
This has got to be a Labour person, right?
Well, I suppose so. It could be.
No, it's got to be because they've done #Labour, so they're trying to get it trending.
Oh.
And that's never going to trend, is it?
Do you think it's Alistair Campbell? That was honestly my first
Alistair Campbell.
guess. Poof, Alistair Campbell.
You think Alistair Campbell?
No, I think it's a Tory. I think it's a Boris supporter, possibly Nadine Dorries again.
Really?
Oh no. Yeah.
Well, let's take a look.
Oh.
Fabricant, which might actually be Nadine Dorries. We've never seen them in the same room at the same time, and with a wig, you could pull that off. OK, here's your next one. Be seen within a mile of my daughters and I will nail your balls to the floor using your own front teeth. Do you get that? Who's that?
No, Leo, who have you annoyed?
Hey, they've got a hot daughter. What can I say?
Well, my first thing was I thought, this person clearly knows nothing about dentistry. Because that's not how teeth work.
Or hammering.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why you're looking at me. I'm got clue.
Keep making that mistake every round. Yeah. Any other ideas?
I do actually know this. There's a man in Westminster called Jimmy Nails for Teeth. You know how MPs, they get their family on the payroll as secretaries or whatever, but a journalist had done some sort of research and found out that Nadine Dorries had hired her daughter, but her daughter lived miles away or in a different country or something. He was investigating it, and Nadine Dorries just sent this to him and was like, I'm gonna nail your teeth to the floor or whatever it is. Nail your scrotum to the floor. It was more painful.
Scrota.
Scroti. Yeah, so it's Nadine Dorries.
Let's take a look.
No!
Yes, it's Nadine Dorries again.
Yeah.
I mean, she's proper badass gangster, isn't she?
Yeah.
This is why they call her Mad Nads.
You know what?
Because after she's nailed your scrotum to the floor, you've got mad nads.
Why hasn't she deleted that? That's from 2013, and she's now in the government. Why isn't she?
I think somebody screenshotted it.
Oh, I thought she was just proud of it.
Maybe she is.
OK, let's see your next one. Apologies for my clumsy attempt at humour on Radio 4 Today this morning. It wasn't appropriate. I'm sorry and apologise unreservedly.
Nadine Dorries. I mean, it's got to be.
Is this Leo curse?
Yeah, like he'd apologise for anything.
Yeah, but this was before GB News was a thing, right? This is when BBC was the only one who was booking him, so he was like, let me try and turn this ship around. And they were like, no. And this is the beginning of Leo's origin story, when his apology wasn't accepted, and thus Leo was born.
Any other idea?
I'm going to go with him, Nadine Dorries.
Yeah, Nadine Dorries.
Okay, let's take a look. Michael Gove. He said this after saying going into the studio is like going into Harvey Weinstein's bedroom. You hope to emerge with your dignity intact.
Wow.
Why did he have to apologise for that?
That's a good joke.
Okay, here's your next one. This ought to close the matter. There is a war on, and the Prime Minister, supported by the Chancellor, provides the leadership the nation needs.
Please tell me that this was like Sajid Javid right before he resigned, and then Rishi resigned after him. Please tell me that was that, because that would be a beautiful moment.
It's not what we're looking for, I'm afraid.
Did you just refer to Sajid Javid as Savage Garden? That is a different thing.
I sometimes get his name mixed up and I say Sajid Javid, but it's not, it's Sajid Javid.
Yeah.
It's a bit tricky.
But I liked it when he sang To the Moon and Back. No, I've done it again. Savage Garden. Any other?
This ought to close the matter. There is a war on.
This would have been about the vote of no confidence.
Yes.
Yes.
So this would have been another pro Boris person trying
Nadine
to get
Dorries.
Nadine Dorries.
No, Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Let's take a look. Yes, Jacob Rees-Mogg.
I was going to
Thank
say
you.
that.
Nadine Dorries would never use the word ought.
And Jacob Rees-Mogg uses it in every sentence. Got that vibe.
I ought to think he does. Yeah, I can't.
I'm going to return to the oughta cue. Here's your next one. Apparently, I'm racist because I think Chuck Amunna looks like Chris Eubank. What would I be if I said he looked like someone who was white?
Blind?
Yeah. So whoever tweeted this got Chukka Amunna's name wrong. So they might as well have tweeted, oh, apparently I'm racist because I think Chukka Amunna, whatever his name is. So this is someone saying they're not racist by being racist. That sounds like Nadine Dorries.
Well, let's take a look.
Nadine Dorries.
Hey!
The gift that keeps Nadine Dorries. We've got to miss her when she's gone.
She is spoiling for a fight, isn't she? She's like the table you avoid in Wetherspoons. You're like, what? No.
And at the end of that round, the points go to the red team.
We're really rubbish in that one.
Good, yeah.
And now it's time for the quickfire round. I'll be asking rapid-fire questions based on all of the news of the week. Our teams will have to buzz in and be the fastest to answer to gain the point, so it's fingers on buzzers. Why is a beer glass going to fetch upwards of £10,000 at auction next week?
That's just the price of a pint of lager in London now.
Because it was the last pint glass used by Jesus before he was barred.
What, it's the Holy Grail?
Yeah, that one.
It's the beer glass that Keir Starmer used in Durham.
Is it half full with petrol?
It's because it belonged to Hitler.
Ooh.
Cheers. What is supposed to be supplied across all state schools in England by next summer?
Machine guns for teachers.
No, that's not in America. This is England. Any other ideas?
Pronouns.
No, it's defibrillators.
Oh.
They're not as healthy as they look. What can happen to honeybees if they overheat?
They turn into wasps.
No.
They take their little fur coats off and become flies.
Instead of honey, they make the inside of a crunchy.
They may ejaculate themselves to death. When male worker bees overheat, their bodies convulse, forcing their sex organs to burst out of their posterior.
We've all been there.
That's not how you ejaculate, Steve.
Well, it's not how you ejaculate. According to a new report, Stockholm has been ranked the worst city for what?
Recovering after you've been kidnapped.
Yeah, is it forming a bond with people who've put you in the boot of a Mercedes?
It's not.
Is it happiness?
No.
Oh, something to do with flat pack furniture.
No, I'll give you the answer. It's making new friends.
Oh,
So
sad times.
Probably because it's it's difficult to speak the language. Which new course will Texas State University College offer students the chance to study?
TikTok video management.
It's almost as pointless as that. Actually, no, TikTok would be a better degree to have.
French GCSE.
Anyone else?
A Harry Styles degree program.
Is the correct answer. It's a course based on Harry Styles. The full title of the course is Harry Styles and the Cult of Celebrity Culture.
Wow.
Why were police called to the World Athletic Championships?
Someone had done a runner.
The bar was set too high.
I feel like you're not taking this seriously.
There was a crime.
The official World Championship mascot's head had been stolen. Why won't the world chess champion Marcus Carlsen defend his title any longer?
He just fancies playing Scrabble.
I think I'll give you the points. It's because he doesn't like chess.
Wow!
The Ministry of Defence has introduced a blanket ban on what for troops stationed abroad?
Blankets.
Prostitutes.
Is the correct answer, yeah. And it says soldiers are no longer allowed to pay prostitutes. I think not paying them's worse, isn't it? And that's the end of the quick-fire round, and the winners are the red team.
Yes!
And that means that, sadly, we've also reached the end of the show. I can reveal the overall winners this week. It's the Reds. To the winners, your prize is tickets to the Women's Euro final. And the losers, you won't be going away empty-handed. You'll also get tickets to the Women's Euro final. We can't get rid of these things. Thanks to our team captains, Leo Kirst and Diane Spencer. And to our guests this week, Darius Davis and Andrew Doyle. I've been your host, Stephen Allen, and we'll be back at the same time next week. See you then.